everybody know, due to the wording of the town hall meeting, we were talking about replacing the city manager search with in lieu of town hall, we would do the city manager. So it was not advertised correctly because it was canceled, and that's how we advertised it. But I know a lot of y'all are here, and I know that Commissioner Crutcher had encouraged a lot of people that did have some concerns to go ahead and come and speak out. So since you're here, we would love to give you an opportunity. Mr. Hall is not with us tonight because of how we advertised it with the town hall being canceled. So if you want to come up and speak about the Meadows, if you live in the Meadows, you're worried about or concerned about the development behind, we as the board, we're talking and no one has a problem with it. We will wait a few minutes to start the other meeting. So if you are here for that reason and you have something that you would like to voice, unfortunately, we are probably not going to be able to answer all of your questions, but your concerns are important to us. And so if you would like to take this moment, we'll give you a chance to come up and ask questions. And what we don't know, we'll try to get back with you. We would like to have a workshop where you can come in and we can get Mr. Hall and the engineer and maybe even the developer, and we can discuss some of your concerns. But as of right now, for the record, nothing has been turned into the city as far as a development. So we are talking prematurely. I know that y'all have had a meeting and maybe led another way, but for right now, no one has put any kind of submitted anything to come in front of the Planning Commission. So I will give you a moment. Whoever wants to come and talk, please do. Yes. Oh.
Mayor, just for the record, so that we keep our peace with the charter in relation to special meetings, section 62208. This is not an addition to the special meeting.
Correct.
This is a board hearing this, and the special meeting will follow. Is that
correct? We are delaying our special meeting, and this is just because so many citizens are here thinking that they were coming for a town hall. We're just going to proceed and give them an opportunity to speak because we're all here.
There's no legal problem with it. I just wanted to be sure that because of that this is not part of the special meeting. And
yes, absolutely not. And we'll just start the special meeting late. Yes.
I would like to thank you, Madam Mayor and Commissioners, for this opportunity. My name is Hilton Staggs. I live in the Meadows. I've lived here since 1999. I'm currently serving on the board of directors. I'm acting president. As of recently, our other president resigned and has kind of passed the ball on, I guess is the way to put it. But we have grave concerns about our community, and I had written you all a letter. I think I've made you aware of what these may be. I've since found out even more about this, and I did speak to Mr. Bledsoe this week, and he was very kind. He made me quite aware that nothing had been presented to the Planning Commission, and consequently not to you all. And of course, I don't know whether that's good or bad, but it did make us feel a little bit better that we had more time, that we could consider the options and the things we have to do. And what we're asking you all, as our city leaders, is an opportunity to really come out and bring everything we know forth to you. And we want to work with you all. I mean, we just feel like we're a big part of this community. And I'm sitting with another gentleman behind me. He's been there the same length of time I have. We were there when the community was first open. There were 2 buildings, and we're still there. And we feel that Fairview's home, and we would like it to remain that. And we'd like it to remain what it was promised to us that it would remain. And I know you all are aware of this. Now, what I found out recently is I've had meetings with the developer, only one to date, but I've had other contacts, and it looks like what he wants to do is build a affordable housing back there which basically means that he's abandoning our master development plan, if one exists. And this is another concern we have. And I've been told that it's been lost. And you all know that a PUD has very important restrictions. And you just don't lose something like that. There's consequences if you lose something like that. And we know that you all were not involved in that, and that's certainly, we're not accusing anyone of anything. We just want to be treated fairly as tax-paying members of this community. And I recently was looking, we actually had an injunction served, it's public record. They accused us of some things that is not true. It was untruth, but you know, things happen. And anybody can bring an injunction and make claims that are not substantiated. It's the way life is. We all understand that. So by reading through that, I found out that not only are they saying we want 11 acres to build affordable housing, they're now saying 21 plus acres to build affordable housing thereon. That's what I've just found out recently. So that's not what we were promised. And I think if you lived there, you'd feel just like I do, and just like the other 57 members of our community. And we're just hoping, and we're willing to sit down with you guys and just let's work something out. And we don't know yet what we'll have to do, but we feel like with your help and with conscientious on our part, that we'll get to the end of this and make it work for everybody. So that's all I have to say for now, and I hope we have an opportunity soon to talk again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Dave, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
When you and I spoke, you were looking for information about the rezone, or the change in zoning designation. Have you been able
Very concerned about that.
have you been able to get that information?
Well, here's what I found out about it, okay? And I have problems with that rezoning too, and I think you'll understand why. It started out with all the proper paperwork, excuse me. We went from an R1 to an R3, okay? Well, all right, that's fine. Then I looked back at various copies of our plats and the minutes, and things don't add up. And we went from, by the proper paperwork, we were an R3. And that was fine, you know, and our development was built at a density of 8 units per acre. All of a sudden, from out of the blue, and I've talked to Mr. Bledsoe and others, and I understand some of this, but that's not the answer I'm looking for because I don't think it's totally correct. All of a sudden, I look at a plat, and it's handwritten in there that we've gone from an R3 to an RM12. Now, density is very important in a small community like ours. Those roads are ours. You know, we can't depend on the city to help us. We've got to maintain those roads. Now, if we're going to go up and up that and let people come up there with more units than we ever anticipated would be, our roads won't sustain us. You know, they'll be damaged. We're already patching them. And, you know, the amenities that were supposed to be completed our place, they've never been done. Come on. I mean, I realize a bond was placed there, but the bond was released. I mean, I have got a lot of problems that need to be addressed, and I think you all could help us. You can answer questions, and like I said, we understand you weren't on the commission back then. That's not the problem, but somebody's got to pick up the gauntlet. And in this case, it's you all. And you've got to pick it up and carry it, and you've got to rectify mistakes and things that happened in the past. And you're really the only ones we can turn to without litigating. Who wants to do that? I mean, nobody wants to do that.
What did you see that had it zoned as RM12? Did you confirm that it was RM12 with Mr. Bledsoe?
Basically, that's what's written, and that's how they built Phase 3. And I had questions way back then, because they built 9 units on 3/4 of an acre. That obviously means you're going to have 12 units on an acre. Now, I was told, and this is one of the questions Mr. Bledsoe said, but I still do not accept this properly. I don't think it's thought out properly, because you got to read that ordinance supposedly, and it was back in I've got it written, but I don't need to look. It was 1998, all right? So they said that was a uniform coverage. No, it's not. You still got to amend and do variances. This is a PUD. You still got to do things right. And let's just say this, that maybe RM12, they approached someone and needed more room or something, but it wasn't done properly. You know, if you want to read that ordinance yourself, read in there. We should have been grandfathered in with no more than, we should have been an RM8. And we'll accept some concessions on that. But density is a very important part of this. It's a small community. It's very expensive to maintain. We take care of our own roads, our own lights, everything. And we have to have help if we're going to build it out, at least as much as we can get from it, and build it out properly like we were promised. We were promised 212 units. And I don't care if they don't build 212 units. It's probably too many for that area. If we could get another 2 phases built out, we might be tickled to death, because then it would help maintain the rest of the community by building having new homes and things built there. You all understand how that works. And so we're really concerned about things like that. We just feel like we've been pushed around a little bit by people. And I'm really concerned that if that happens and they build these apartments, that's totally contrary to the Fairview development and land plan use for long term. You know it's not right. I know it's not right. And, you know, some people think they can run over you because they got money and things like that, and they're going to pull lawyers on you and things. And, but, you know, we're here to try to work this out, because I think it could be done for the benefit of the community and definitely for the benefit of Meadows at Fairview. And
Do you have all the documentation that you need from the city on how that changed?
we feel like some documentation's missing. We have almost nothing on that zone change, except I've been told it was a citywide change. And I still argue the point, okay, but look in there, and why aren't we grandfathered in as an RM8 and not an RM12? Density is important.
Can you give me a list of what you think you don't have, so we can try to track it down and see if it
Yes.
actually is, because if it does.
Absolutely. There's almost no documentation in there on our whole phase 2. Almost nothing. It doesn't exist. Now, how could you build a condominium complex of 58 homes and you have a whole phase and you can't find but maybe a sentence in there? Because I see what goes on in our planning commissions, and I see how much documentation there is. And I just think it was mistakes made. We were the first PUD in Fairview, and I think they didn't know how to handle us. I think there were mistakes made, and that's all we're asking. You all have it within your power to rectify these problems. You know you do.
One of the things I would like to say, it was brought to our attention that the reason, at first there was a lot of question if the master development plan was lost or not, and I heard a lot of citizens bring that up. But we did find out that they didn't necessarily require them, that changed later. So there may not be one. It's not that it's a lost plan. It just wasn't required. That was something that we later on did. And so maybe we can come up with the exact date when we updated our codes that came about. So I did want to, I know a lot of citizens that I've spoke to had concerns about that, and it is concerning, you know, if things got lost. But so that is an issue I just wanted to address while you were here. And I think the workshop will be a great way. You got to realize, though, when they haven't brought us anything,
Yes, I
and
understand.
so it's hard, it's not like
I
it
understand.
can't even come in front of the planning. Now, what we can do as a city is try to get all the stuff together. It is your road. I don't know how your road situation is going to turn out, but I would think if y'all paid for it, you don't have to allow access. I did tell many citizens that I talked to, I looked in the same neighborhood. So when we were looking to buy, I would be feeling the same way.
Yeah, sure.
And we're very aware of how concerning it is to the citizens, at least I am.
Who was the code director at that time in 98?
No, it wasn't even,
It depends on which phase. I
it
can
was Donna
remember.
probably. Donna. What was Donna's last name?
I don't have all all of those records with me at this time.
Donna,
I know one of the bonds on phase 3 was released by Mr. Bledsoe. That was phase 3. That's not our problem. We don't even have a quitclaim deed on phase 3. So I'm wondering, do we really own the roads that are falling apart and stuff?
Codes director in 98, that's before my time. There's a lot
Yeah.
of stuff that doesn't happen like that. But his
I've got record of it, but I don't have it with me.
And the reason I asked that is
It
we
is
could
Don.
reach out to that individual,
Oh.
give us some input.
Well, it was the person that was under Vince and took it, but maybe it was Vince. But depending on the date.
I was just gonna say, I'm not overly concerned about the existence or non-existence of the master plan. I mean, I think there's language in the minutes that I've seen that specifically talks about the number of units that had been approved.
Yes, it does.
And if you take the number of
Who's
units
saying
that have been approved, and
That's not what he
figure
said
out
under
the area of land, you can figure out what the density was or was
Ab-
intended to be.
Absolutely,
Told me the same
absolutely.
night.
What I'm more concerned about is the zoning change, because if it should have been classified as an RMH based on what had been approved.
Yes.
For that development, then I wanna know why it's an RM12. That's where my focus is more than anything else, because I have a feeling that, well, if it's RM12, I'm not so sure that anything will ever come back to this board. I mean, there's, I guess short of it being a PUD, I guess a PUD would come, if they did an amendment, is that right?
Yes, you have to amend that.
It would have to come back.
Mhm.
But otherwise, I don't know that it would come back. I guess it would be a PUD though. I think it's intended to be.
Well, from what I understand, that's what has to be done. You've got to amend it in order to change the density, and the zoning density was what we questioned, one of our big questions. And I'm like you, the master plan, there's enough concept plans and engineering drawings on that particular property that you can tell what it was. And I've got documentation that says it was a PUD. And to be honest with you, I can't even tell you exactly when that happened, because we're not sure it happened at the very beginning, because I was on one line in all the minutes I've read, one line that mentions that. And yet the documentation I have when I bought my unit specifically says we are the only PUD development in the city of Fairview. So that's always been my understanding, and I understand you've got to have more green space, you have to have more amenities. PUDs are different from just your normal everyday subdivision. And you all know, because I know there's other PUDs now, and other places are asking to go under the overlay. The city has its own overlay here. And I may have read that wrong, but I believe that overlay even indicates that we would be no more than an RM8. You know, maybe I misread that, but I thought it said west, and that's where we are. And that's, so how are we something different? And also, if you'd read that resolution, I believe it grandfathers us in. So I don't care what you said it turned everything into, I still can't see how it could have gone up to that high of density. And you know, that's a real question, because it changed a lot of things in the back there around us. And another thing too is the fact that they're talking about putting an ATS system in to get around the fact that no multiple family dwellings are being approved right now. Now, let me tell you something. You can say what you want, and I don't care if they're in Murfreesboro or Timbuktu. I know that those things are not efficient, and especially not in apartments. You don't have them properly maintained, they're not properly installed. I can give you all kinds of documentation on that. I'm very, very concerned about that too. And here's my question. If somebody, let's just say it all comes out and everything's approved, and they're going to build apartments with an ATS, type of sewer setup. Well, why couldn't you build if you're going to go to that extreme, why couldn't you build condos down there under the same system? How's it possible?
I would be shocked if there would be enough good land, the topography of there to be.
It's impossible. It's got to be a self-contained system, and even then, they have a 40 to 60% chance of never meeting proper permitted requirements. 40 to 60%, I can give you all kinds of information on that. But I'm saying, okay, if it comes to the final thing and you say, well, we're going to let them build them, which I would never understand, then make them build condos and put that same system in there if it's such a good system. But that's what I've been told. That's why we moved on this. I knew nothing had been presented. We talked to the Planning Commission before. I specifically stopped and asked John specifically, what's going on? And can you tell me? And he was very cordial and told me answered every question I asked. I was very appreciative. And so, that's where we stand. So any other questions? If not, I'll get out of your way and let you all go.
Well, and no, we'll make sure we schedule that meeting. I mean, I think that's probably going to be the best way to handle it. It just, you know, we'll just try to see what y'all have, what
Okay.
we can find. We'll try to get somebody to contact you, and maybe if we need some more information, there's something you don't have.
Anytime.
But you realize, though, we'll do our best trying to come up with this, but if it's not there, it's not there. All we can do
I
is
understand.
try to move forward and correct, and it sounds like there's information missing. So, you know, if you just kind of get us that, and we'll be in contact, and appreciate you coming.
Well, thank you all very much. I appreciate your time.
There certainly should be some information there on the rezoning. I don't really, like I said, I'm not really worried about the master plan, but there's definitely got to be some information. Gotta be in the minutes.
Well, we've looked through all the minutes. It's also, how can you have minutes and not even hardly mention our Phase 2 development? I mean, I don't know if there's anything more than a half a paragraph in there. And we've gotten all the minutes and copies from everything, from the Planning Commission, from that date on till 2006, from when it first started, and we've gotten all your minutes. And there doesn't seem to be complete. And we're missing stuff that, you know, that should be something. I know we couldn't have built all those places and not had, you all have discussed it, or at least the Planning Commission, more thoroughly. And there's a lot of things in there that I think the commission back then did their very best. They were really insistent that they follow these particular densities. They even made them cut out one particular condominium unit, and that kept the density under 7. And that's what they tried to do until Phase 3. And that's when that RM12 appeared. We're really at a mystery on that too, but anything you all could do to help us in the future, we'd be very appreciative of it. Just call me anytime or let me know, and I'll be glad to meet with you all, and we'll just see what we can work out.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Did anybody else want the opportunity? Okay, she's,
I'm also here for the exact same issue, along with several of my neighbors from both the Meadowwood Court and the Chester Road subdivision. Our land is being cleared behind our homes all the way up to the fence lines. There are rumors going around, and usually there's an element of truth embedded in any rumor, and we're just looking for answers. If this is in fact high-density development, our property value is going to go down, there will be safety issues, and then the sewer issue. We just want answers. We don't feel like we've gotten straight answers up to this point. There have been a lot of discrepancies when we've reached out to people. We understand that getting an answer of, we know nothing about it, versus it hasn't crossed our desk. Those are two different answers. They don't mean the same thing. And depending on who we've asked, we've gotten both of those answers from the same person. We're just asking for honesty, transparency, consistency. You know, we support the city's strategic growth goals. I don't feel like a development of this type supports that. We just want the opportunity to be part of the decision if it does come up. And again, honesty and transparency is what we're looking for. We will help do whatever we need to do. We just need to be informed. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
thank you. Yes, go ahead.
Well, that's all right. Go ahead. Ladies before gentlemen.
For the record, I'm Donna Stokes Rogers. I live at the Meadows at Fairview, and I have lived in Fairview very proudly for the last 15 years. Given opportunities to move, we decided that Fairview was where we want to be. This is where our daughter has gone from kindergarten through the middle school, and we hope for her to go to high school here. I don't want to leave my community. And my concern that I bring to you is what is best for Fairview. As a resident of Fairview and someone who works in Williamson County, seeing the development all over the county, I mean, Franklin, Nolensville, Arrington, College Grove, Brentwood, I know that there are a lot of people wanting to come into the county for the reason that my husband and I moved here was the benefit of the school system. And I wouldn't deny anybody that. But for the best for the community, for our schools, we're all concerned about our property values. On a very selfish level, we're very concerned. You know, I'm halfway through my mortgage. I've still got about 15 more years to retirement. When I get ready to retire, what am I going to do when I get ready to sell my unit? And I know that my neighbors are equally concerned about that. So I do hope that you will consider, as you move forward and you are given information, the concerns that we as a community all around, not just the Meadows, but I know the properties behind that the lady so eloquently spoke about. It's a concern for our schools, it's a concern for our property values, it's a concern for the safety of our residents. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm short, and I'll make this speech short. I believe that you all know, because you've been here, I know that some of you people have been here longer than some of us. But if you consider the drip system, you realize that even not the sewer system, but I'm sorry, I'm 82 and I don't think too well. The what? Septic systems. The septic systems and this drip system that they're talking about, we have clay soil and it does not let water go through. That's all I've got to say.
Okay, anybody else?
I live over in Chester Estates. This development is coming right up to my fence line, as it is quite a few of my neighbors. I went out and polled the people that are on Birch Bark Drive, Birch Bark Court, and Red Maple Court, and 100% were against any further low-income development in the area. Fairview has no low-income apartments. It'd be great. I know quite a few people who would like to move to Fairview but make more than the $24,000 or $26,000 a year, and there's nowhere for them to live if they don't qualify for a mortgage. So regular apartments would be great. The other concern is that it is part of the 100-year floodplain back there. So the environmental issues that someone with a lot more knowledge in that area would have to explain better than me. But that is a concern. We had to switch from the sewer system to from the septic system to the sewer system. And yeah, they would have the same problem back there. That property directly abuts our property, and we were under the impression that that couldn't be developed. The increased density, the increased traffic, the increased noise, I just think there's better uses for that property than more low income. It would be the 5th low income property in the Fairview area. And I think that's enough for a town of 8,000. Some regular apartments, continue on with the Meadows condominium complex, all would be better alternatives and make the people happier that are there now. I guess that's all I got to say about it, but I'm hoping we go in another direction.
Thank you. Okay, well, I will go ahead if the commissioners, anybody else has anything to say. But just know that we'll try to work with you and get this meeting together. Apologize for any confusion about the town hall, but we will definitely get something scheduled and try to move forward. But I wanted to address the one thing is I've had people call like Timberline immediately when they saw them doing the brush work, sent the codes director over there immediately. Somebody was kind enough to let him go on their driveway. And there's a lot that we can't do. Anybody can clear their property. So it doesn't mean there's anything being hidden. It's just no one's come through, and they don't have to come to do the underbrush. They don't have to come to us. And so I know it's disheartening, it's confusing, people are concerned like there must be something going on, but he went over, he checked it out. they weren't clear cutting trees and, you know, clearing out underbrush, and that is allowed. And so until we actually have them come forward, that's probably still gonna be, you know, unless we see trees going down, there's not a lot we could do as a city. So just keep that in mind. We tried to answer all the phone calls. I know Mr. Hall, John Bledsoe, I know Commissioner Crutcher, myself, we've had a lot of, I'm sure the other board members have had questions and concerns. We hear you, and I think that's the most important thing, is to know that you have real, concerns, and we'll be glad to try to meet and do what we can to do what we can. But the Vice Mayor wanted to say something also.
Just one thing, since we agree we're gonna have a meeting sometime in the near future, and Shannon has been in contact with many of you, is go ahead and get your questions to him so we can probably have answers at the time of the meeting, rather than asking questions and have to put it off again. And we'll try to have as many answers for you at that meeting as we possibly can. Shannon, I think you're there, I can get out of touch with you.
Okay. And thank you for coming tonight. And like I said, we'll get, if you want to shoot, I know there's two different, if there's one representative, the Chester Estates or Timberline that wants to leave and be responsible for contacting, we'll be glad. And then also, we already have a contact for the Meadows. So just for we can kind of get those questions together and see how we can help. So, anything else? Okay, so we'll be done with that section, and we'll move forward, and we're going to open our special meeting, and it is now 7:30, and I apologize for those that have come for the special meeting that we're running late.